How's it going? My name is Nathan Hayes, and for this year's tournament, I played ABC Adventure Therion. This is like the only deck I had for coming into this tournament, so it's what I rolled with. Last year, I just played ABC Adventure Therion because Ancient Fairy wasn't legal, of course. But this year, with Ancient Fairy being legal and the Punk cards, is basically Xiaoman being level 3, it works perfectly to make Ancient Fairy Dragon. So this year, I figured I'd play the ABC cards with the hope of making Ancient Fairy Dragon. So let's get right into it. So starting off with the ABC engine, I played 2 ASL Core, 3 Buster Drake, and 2 Sea Crush Riven. I feel like this was an appropriate ratio. You definitely don't need to play 3 of A or C. They just aren't good enough, and it just will clog you up because you don't necessarily want to draw more than one of these in your hand. Drawing one is fine because you can work well with the adventure stuff, with discarding off of Fateful if you need to start that, or with other things like that. But you draw more than one of the pieces, it's not very great. I played 3B because it's the best one, and I felt like I played 46 cards in this deck. So with playing 46, I just needed to see him a little bit more often, so I put the extra B in. Oftentimes, I would side 1B out, and I think it worked great. And then I, of course, played the one Union Driver as the honorary ABC piece because it's able to bypass the summoning condition lock of Union Hanger and unauthorized reactivations. So this card's great. Definitely will never play more than one. It's just like you never want to draw it. So if you're playing more than one, that means you're scared of drawing it. If you're scared of drawing it, that's some soft mentality. You just gotta say you're never gonna draw it. And with playing 46 cards, I figured I would never draw it. And it only happened once where I top decked it. So that was awesome. Then for the spells, I played the 3 Union Hanger and then the 2 unauthorized reactivation. Union Hanger, of course, you gotta play at 3. This card's amazing. The unauthorized reactivation, I only played at 2 because by itself, it does nothing. You have to have a piece with it. And I figured 3 was too cloggy. I just don't want to see this as like the 5th card with, say, like adventure cards and punk cards. It literally does nothing at that point. So I only played 2 because when you draw it, it's gonna be pretty good. It can also be pretty good to set if you want to use it on your opponent's turn to equip an A, B, or C to, say, protect one of your cards from Dark Ruler if you equip B, or say on an evenly matched if you equip C, that kind of a thing. So yeah, that's it for the ABC engine. Next up for the Adventure engine, I played 2 Water Enchantress and 1 Griffin for the monsters. Of course, you play one Griffin, you don't need any more than that. I played 2 Water Enchantress because I didn't want to put too many cards in with this engine. I just think it's only just -1 Water Enchantress, but I only put 2 in because I feel like 3 right was better than 3 Water Enchantress, and I was trying to keep the cards at least as low as I could by playing up to 46 kind of thing. And then I played 3 Rite of Aramesir, 1 Fateful, and 1 Draco back. These cards were amazing. Of course, this engine in general is just so awesome. There's just no way around it. This engine won me so many duels. Having Fateful for later turns to be able to get Griffin back is so awesome. And having it as a discard, because sometimes Regulus needs to target Engrave and you don't have anything, and you say if you draw a piece, you can easily discard a piece and then Regulus is instantly live. You can discard Water Enchantress, you can discard Destrudo. There's so many things you can discard to get to grave that is very beneficial. So I loved it, and I'm so glad I chose to play this engine. Shout out to Brennan for this, because originally I wasn't going to play it. I was just going to be on the ABC Punk Therion, and I came the day of the tournament, and I was like, man, I really like playing the adventure stuff, but when I add too many cards to my deck, I'm trying to play 40. And Brennan's like, dude, you just got to roll with it. So I put them in, I put the engine in, and it was awesome. So definitely glad I ran with this engine. Next up for the Punk engine, I got 1 Xiaoman, 2 Foxy Tune, and 1 Deer Note. This engine was solid. Definitely is helpful in making Ancient Fairy Dragon, and Xiaoman's a pretty good card to bait out Ashes and stuff to maybe later play Union Hanger. You definitely don't want to see this card in hand because normal summoning it is you basically don't want to normal summon this, because then it takes away from a piece normal summon. Also, normal summoning this and using its effect makes Rite of Air Mysterior unable to use that. So you only want to play one. The 2 Foxy Tomb was great. This card is also amazing in sending cards to grave, like Destrudo or Water Enchantress or a piece if you need it. So that was awesome. And then the Deer Note just to round out that combo. And then I played 3 Itelli, all to summon the Zayaman. And this card was awesome in doing so, because it's just a free special summon that goes right into your combos, and then it still enables you to normal summon an ABC piece. And then lastly, for the Therions, I played 2 Regulus and 2 Discoliseum. These cards were awesome. Regulus is so powerful. It does so much in getting pieces back live to then summon themselves to get more link fodder. I oftentimes would have a Regulus in grave and would use this effect to equip a Regulus to gain 700 attack. That helped me beat over some big bodies, because really the biggest guy I can make is the 3000 with the ABC Dragon Buster, so that was very helpful in getting up to 3500 attack. And then Disc Coliseum, after my first duel with Trevor through Swiss, I found out just how versatile this card is in being able to get back cards from the grave, and then as well as send Reguluses into the grave. So this card was awesome for sure. And then I guess the last little engine is 2 Destrudo and 2 Dragon Ravine. This actually never came up. I never drew these cards. And this is the main thing that I cited out. I felt like it just wasn't necessary to make my combo any stronger in later games. Originally, like if I'm going first, I'm going to want this just because the potential is there. But going on into like games 2 and 3, I always kept it cited out, because I feel like there was just more impactful cards that I could play against my opponent rather than this. Especially because I have so many other starters and extenders in the deck. So I oftentimes cited these cards out. And yeah, I think I summoned Destrudo actually only one time. So it wasn't very impactful this tournament. And then for my one-ofs, 1 Set Rotation, 1 Terraforming, and 1 Foolish Burial. All these cards are great. Set Rotation gives you an extra Terraforming to get more Union Hanger to hand. And then Foolish Burial can send an extra piece. It can send Destrudo. It can send a Water Enchantress. You want to start that engine. You can send a lot of different things to get different engines rolling. I only drew Foolish Burial one time. And the one time I drew it, I was under Necro Valley, so I wasn't even able to use it because the card I would have sent would have done nothing for me. But yeah. Then the last cards I played were my hand traps, and I played 3 Ash, 1 Ghost Ogre, and 3 Imperm. Ash is awesome. It just does so much, and it can negate Brandon Fusion, which is amazing. I played the 1 Ghost Ogre because you're able to add it off of the Dragon, the Punk Dragon Synchro Monster. And then Infinite Impermanence is awesome. No matter when you have it, it's basically always going to be viable. If you draw it as your 6th card, it's great for trying to break through boards. You can play it turn 1, and you can also set it if you draw it. So it's just an overall amazing card. And then going on into the extra deck, this is the one huge mistake I made. I only played 2 Buster. I definitely should have played 3. For some reason, I only played 2. This just goes with not testing the deck enough and being a little short-sighted coming into the tournament. Definitely, you gotta play 3 of these, because in the grind game, the stress of not having a 3rd one, it gets to you, and it's like, well, it's just so free to be able to summon a 3rd one of these. Because when you have 3 pieces in grave, you literally can just get this guy for free. You can come back so quickly with just having 3 pieces in grave. So having 3 is definitely huge. And like whenever I summon the 2nd one, it'd be like, this is it. I gotta do what I can with what I got right now. So it would have been super nice to have the 3rd one just for mental sake. And then I had for Link 2's Platinum Gadget, IP Masquerena, and Nightmare Phoenix. Platinum Gadget is for combos, gets you to special summon another piece. IP for making, Appaloosa or Underworld Goddess in your opponent's turn, and Nightmare Phoenix. This card came up actually quite a lot in destroying spells and traps, especially against Trevor and against our Sky Striker player Lucas. It was a very awesome, and it's this card, which is huge. It's sending cards to graves. Oftentimes it was nice to be able to discard like a Draco back, and then just to be able to re-equip it back to the token I had on field. So that was always, it feels good. And so yeah, these cards were all very great. Next up, for the Link 3, just one unicorn. I summoned this one time in game 2 of the final to flip back a was the big old the Garden Chimera of the branded, and it was awesome because I was able to OTK that turn. So this guy is awesome, just to have the versatility of it. Then for the Link 4s, I have Appaloosa and Access Code Talker. Appaloosa, I think I only made a couple times, but it's a really impactful card, and me able to get out either 3 or 4 negates depending on the resources I had on field. Access Code Talker is huge to be able to go for game. I summoned this guy a couple times, and it was always great to clear boards and then attack for big damage. And then the last guy is going to be, Underworld Goddess. Underworld Goddess, I summoned one time. I'm not necessarily that great at using this card, I don't think, but I'll have to learn to play more of it and hopefully be more impactful with it later. So I only summoned it one time, and the time I summoned it, it wasn't that impactful, but just having it is going to be nice. And then I played this one card. All the YouTubers on YouTube told me to play this card, so I played it. I don't know why I would play it ever again. It's just like, they say, this one guy was like, you never know you want it until you want it, and I never wanted it, so I never thought it was impactful by any means. I think maybe in like super late grind games, if I need to like, you know, link off just a single piece, it's great, but otherwise I probably would cut it unless I had just like one random free spot. But yeah, I definitely would cut I'd probably cut this and put in another ABC Dragon Buster. And then for XYZs, I have one Spriggan's Merrymaker and one gigantic Sargus. You can able to make Sargus on top of Merrymaker, so I need 2 level 4s for this. I actually never made Merrymaker, but I did make Sargus. Sargus is great because you can use the Punk Synchro as well as Boxy Tune in order to make it, and then you're able to make search for Regulus and make your final board a little stronger. So this is definitely worth playing because it's pretty free when you have the Punk engine rolling. Then for Synchros, level 7s, I have Ancient Fairy Dragon and F.A. Dawn Dragster. Ancient Fairy, of course, is huge for the program. So glad it's off the list. They freed my boy, which is awesome. The extra summon is amazing. Being able to cycle through field spells is so awesome. And it's always, it feels good because the one time that I was able to use Destrudo and pay half my life points, I was able to gain 1,000 of them back, and that was awesome. So this card's great, of course, in just extending combos and making sure that you can make more of your engines live by getting through more field spells. F.A. Dawn Dragster, I made this card one time against Sky Striker, and I thought it had the ability to be like Naturia Beast and just cycle through tons of spell negates by just milling cards on top of my deck. And then I read it for the first time, and I found out that it only has 1 negate, and it was crushing because I got OTK'd that game. So I only had this on board, and I got OTK'd, and that was crushing. So honestly, maybe I'll cut this because it doesn't. I mean, maybe I'll probably keep it in just for the versatility and for maybe the one-off situation where I need it. But otherwise, it didn't really do much for me, and I actually got OTK because of it. So yeah. And then for the level 8s, I got the one Punk Synchro Jam Dragon Drive, and then one Borreload Savage. This card is great because it helps you make the Punk combos. And get you to maybe an additional hand trap with the Ghost Ogre, and then eventually make Sargus. The Borreload Savage, after my duel with Brendan during Swiss, which was my 3rd game, we were talking about our extra decks, and I told him I have no clue why I put this in my extra deck, because I literally can never make it, because most of the time I'm not going to have like Link monsters in Grave, but like by the time I summon this, if I wanted to summon it first turn kind of thing. So I don't really know why I put it in there. Originally I put it in there because I had one additional spot. And I just maybe wanted a card that can maybe come up with, you know, a Synchro 8 in case I needed it. But in the middle of the tournament, I felt like I was never going to summon it. But it actually ended up being the MVP of Game 3 of the final. And I sat on this big boy. He had like 3,800 attack and 2 negates, and I sat on him. And he actually went with the game. So that ended up being hugely impactful. And I guess I keep him in there because he won with the championship. So can't be complaining about that. And then I go into the side deck. And I will say I drew the side deck like it was no one's business. Normally, I'm not a side deck guy. I never draw my side deck cards, but this tournament, I drew them like it was no one's business. Starting off, MVP, Ghost Bell. This card was awesome. Did so much for me. I can never complain about this card. There was times where I have it in my hand, like against, like early in the tournament when I had this card in my hand, I thought it was doing nothing. And then I dueled Trevor in the championship again, and it was awesome because I was finally able to understand his deck a little more and figure out when to use this card, and it was awesome. Huge MVP of this deck, or the side deck. I always sided this in when I needed it, and oftentimes I would just keep it in for games 2 and 3. Then the one Pinkertops, this card's awesome. Just does so much as a going second card. Most of the time I just side out the one B piece and just slide this guy in there for going second. He's just a great body and has great effect. Then I played a little Kaiju package. This, I guess it's 2 Gameciel, 1 Kumongous, and 1 Godarla. This did nothing for me. I never even sided these cards in once. I kind of was making this side deck really fast, and I just threw these in because I knew they'd been impactful previously. But these guys were nowhere near impactful at all. I didn't side them in once. I just slid them into the back of my extra deck, or side deck, and never looked at them ever again the rest of the tournament. So these guys were pretty trash. And then for spell removal, I had 3 Cosmic Cyclone and 1 Harvest Flare Duster. Cosmic Cyclone I thought was great because the discard can be beneficial, as I said before, with sending cards like Water Enchantress and Destrudo and pieces to grave. So you gotta love that. Next up, I have the last is the 3 Dark Rulers. This card was huge. I was able to beat Aiden with it. I actually drew this and Pinkertops and broke through his whole board, and it was the greatest I've ever felt in my life, to be honest. It was so awesome to be able to draw into these, and I was also able to break through some of Brennan's boards with his Sprite deck because of this card. Just being able to shut off your opponent's stuff, and then I'm able to make some pretty big monsters with Buster, as well as some of the Synchros and stuff, so definitely this is huge and able to enable me to break boards. So I gotta love that. Overall, this deck was awesome. I really enjoyed playing it. It was a really fun deck, and as I went through the tournament, I was able to learn more and more about the deck, and that was awesome, and learning about the Therion cards and stuff. So definitely I will play this deck again. So for shout-outs, shout out to other people who let me borrow their cards. Wouldn't have been able to win this tournament without all the cards that I borrowed. And just shout out to all the boys for putting this on year 11. We're going strong still. Big old gangs out here. And short shout out to the Welties for being our 2 newest competitors and getting it done. Thank you.